What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't your circumstances, but it's actually the story you've been believing for years? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, I'm too old, I could never do that, that'll never work out for me, whatever it is? Those thoughts may feel true, but that doesn't mean that they are. And so you've heard me say our beliefs create our experiences and our experiences support our beliefs or reinforce our beliefs. That means what I believe to be true, I can go out and find evidence to support that. So it's really important when we talk about limiting beliefs that we think about what we might be carrying around that isn't true any longer. We also label ourselves. I'm going to ask you, have you ever labeled yourself too controlling, too this, too that, too much, like you're a lot, right? Things we say about ourselves or things other people have said about us, overly sensitive, too picky, too emotional, whatever it is, too anything, right? The truth is most limiting beliefs aren't something that we were born with. They're things that we have acquired and we've learned over time. And somewhere along the way, we pick them up and we take them on and we own them. They can come from childhood experiences, well-meaning parents, well-meaning teachers, even our friends, or love relationships, right? Disappointments, maybe something that didn't work out, a careless moment that somebody said something. Over time, those moments become stories, and those stories become things that we just believe to be true, and eventually we stop questioning them, and we take them on as if that is who we are. And so the problem is, again, going back to our beliefs shape and create our experiences. If you believe, they also shape our decisions. So if you believe that you're not worthy, you might not ever apply for that job or take that risk. If you believe that you are too sensitive or too picky, you might not ever pursue that relationship or pursue that dream that's been in your heart or something that you really want to do. And so that's really important, which is why belief work, again, it's kind of critical when it comes to transformation, is really thinking about what our limiting beliefs are, hence limiting, right? They stop us in our tracks, they make us question who we are, and therefore impact our decisions and our choices and our ability to move forward sometimes. But here's the good news. Just because we learned it doesn't mean we have to keep it. And so the first step is just that. It's awareness. We want to really get curious about what limiting beliefs we might be carrying around. Ask yourself, is this actually true? Is this really who I am? If I label myself controlling, am I really controlling? And how could I reframe that, right? Am I really overly sensitive? I don't even know what that means, to be overly anything. So I want to start to question those things that I tell myself. If you really want to go deep with this, you could pinpoint the actual moment where you remember acquiring that belief. If you label yourself, was that a label you gave to yourself, or did somebody give that to you over the years? Maybe when you were 5, you remember feeling some sort of way, or remember somebody saying something to you, and you just started to believe that it was true, right? And again, well-meaning people, these aren't, intentional things to make us feel bad. But again, we hear something, or maybe you got in a fight with a boyfriend and he called you controlling, and therefore you just believed that you thought, well, it must be true, right? This is the reason why. So again, if I believe I'm controlling, I could go out and find evidence to support that, right? So again, become aware of it. Start questioning from a place of compassion for self and curiosity. Just get curious about what the limiting beliefs are that you might be hanging on to. And then ask yourself, is it true? Like, do I really believe this story? And then look for evidence that challenges that it might not be true anymore. And then ask yourself, does it serve you to hang on to it? Those labels that we give ourselves and those beliefs that are keeping us stuck. What's in it for me to hang on to that limiting belief? So changing the limiting belief, it's not going to happen overnight, right? So I'm not saying just because we identify what it is, tomorrow we can wake up and do what we talked about in the prior video, which was letting go. I want to let go of those limiting beliefs over time at some point in time, especially the ones I know no longer serve me. They affect my relationships, they affect how I show up in the world, they affect my experiences and what I do next and my decisions. And so, do I want to let go of them? Yes, I do. And so I'm just telling you that it might not happen overnight, and that's okay. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. So changing them doesn't happen overnight, but every time we choose a new thought and create a new belief or tell ourselves a new story, then we're creating something different. And so our limiting beliefs, we can reframe them, which we'll talk about in another video, but reframing is just, if this is no longer true, what could I tell myself that is true? So if I say, maybe not the best example, but if I say I'm controlling, if I know that that's not really true, what else could be true? Maybe I just like a plan. I do like a lot of structure in my life, and I do operate better when I know what to expect and what's happening. That sounds so much better than to tell myself that I'm just controlling. So hopefully you get the point there. Try it out. Take one belief that just comes up a lot for you and keeps you kind of stuck feeling some way about yourself, and ask yourself, what else could be true? What else can I tell myself so that you can create a new story? We're not defined by our past. We are not defined by our mistakes or someone else's opinion of us or something that somebody said to us. And again, many of these we have acquired when we were young and children, but a lot of them we acquire as adults. It doesn't stop just because I'm now in my 60s. I can still acquire some limiting beliefs. So we want to pay attention to them. The deep work, yes, we can go back and identify where it started, but only in the sense of, wow, that's an aha moment, and I know where that came from, and now it's time to let it go. So not to dwell on it, not to blame, not to look for a reason why. We just want to, it's sometimes helpful to acknowledge it so that we can free ourselves of it. And so we get to decide what we believe about ourselves. You get to decide, and you get to decide what to do next. If this resonated with you in any way, I would love to know what's one limiting belief that you're ready to let go of. And so we're going to continue the conversation about this because it's important and all things next level living. So in the meantime, let me know how you're going to level up your life, and I look forward to seeing you again.